This is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. That's my closet full of all the stuff that I love. And today we celebrate March Madness. Film-wise, that is. We're going to look at all the films that I watched in March 2026 on disc, online, even in IMAX. And I'll tell you my ratings for each film. And I'll also tell you where you can see these films. Let's check it out. I'm going to go in order of when I watched each of these films in March, starting with films I watched on disc and beginning with The Betrayal from 1966. I'm giving this 4.5 stars. All my ratings are out of 5 stars, so this is 4.5 out of 5. It's a black and white Japanese film that casts a pretty cynical light on the samurai code of honesty and honor, as we have our main character who's a samurai who takes the fall for the death of another clan leader, and then basically gets betrayed by almost everybody in the film. It's a beautiful looking film, and it culminates in this pretty outrageous 15-minute set piece in which our protagonist fights about 200 adversaries. It's quite something to see. This is a Radiance Blu-ray, and I bought this during the 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble. And next we're going to talk about the other film I saw on disc, which is The Curse of the Yellow Snake. This is from 1963, 2.5 stars for this one. It's a German crime film, like they call them creamies, I'm not sure how I pronounce it, from this box set here called Terror in the Fog from Eureka. And it's a pretty basic plot, really, with a couple of fun set pieces that have some nice atmospheric cinematography. Its worst offense really is there's one comic relief character here who's neither a comic nor much of a relief. And at one point he actually even looks straight at the camera and makes some kind of sarcastic remark, sort of like an old Bob Hope movie or something. So I thought that was kind of bad, but hopefully the other films in that box set are an improvement over this one. The next film I watched on disc in March of 2026 is The Snow Creature from 1954. 2.5 stars for this. I recently posted an entire episode about this low-budget science fiction horror film. That's also the first film about a Yeti, also known as the Abominable Snowman. So if you want to see more about this film, check out that episode. This is a Vinegar Syndrome disc. You can also see this on Tubi. Next up is a film from 1962. It's Carnival of Souls. I'm giving this one 4.5 stars. I discussed this film in a much earlier episode under the topic films that freaked me out as a kid, because it's one of those films that would show regularly on TV when I was growing up in the 60s and the 70s. And sometimes I would turn it on, it'd be the middle of this film, or it'd be the end, or it'd be the beginning, and I never knew the name of the film. I just thought, there's that film again. What is this weird film? And recently I had a dream, and some images from this film popped up in my dream. I thought, maybe this is a sign I need to watch this film again. And it's a classic horror film, very rewatchable. And this is on a Criterion Collection disc, but you can probably find it streaming almost anywhere. I think it's public domain at this point, so you can probably even see it for free on YouTube. And the last thing I watched on disc in March 2026 is a big one. It's Berlin Alexanderplatz from 1980, and I gave this one 4 stars. So recently I had oral surgery, and those are two words you don't want to hear together, oral and surgery. And so I was kind of out of commission. I had to watch my activity. I had to have a certain diet. So I thought, okay, this is a perfect time to stay home and watch a long series that's been sitting on my shelf literally for years. So I went with this one. Overall, I was hooked enough to finish this 13-hour series. It's about an ex-con who's trying to lead a life of honesty and a straight life in Berlin in the 1920s. And the biggest problem I had with this, that I think a lot of people will have, is the main character is pretty reprehensible. I kept wondering, who does he remind me of? He reminds me of James Gandolfini in The Sopranos, but without that character's success or power or money. So be aware that women are treated very poorly in this film, in this series rather. Mainly their possessions and objects or prostitutes. And animal lovers, be aware also there is one scene in here that I don't know why they put it in there, but you're going to see an animal killed on film, slaughtered, and pretty disturbing. And so if you're an animal lover, you might want to skip this one. But overall, good performances, an evocative musical score, I thought. Interesting color scheme in this film that I've never seen before, really. It's mainly black and amber and grays and maybe a little bit of white. Really reflected here in this cover and in this packaging from Criterion Collection. It's really the color scheme of the film. It even goes over to the discs themselves and to the booklet too, the cover of the booklet. So it's a Fassbinder film. I've never seen anything by him. This is the only thing I've ever seen by him. So this is on the Criterion Collection. It's a very, very grainy, by the way. I think they blew it up from 16 millimeter to 35 millimeter. It was a television series in Germany. Right now it's streaming on the Criterion channel. Now I want to discuss some films that I saw streaming, and I'm also going to tell you where you can see these streaming. First up is Honey Bunch from 2025. 2 stars for this one. It's a horror/science fiction film about a woman recovering from a coma, and she enters this kind of unusual rehab facility. There's some interesting moments here, and the plot kept me guessing, but by the end it made little sense, which is kind of weird. And the couple here, the 2 lead actors, had very little chemistry. I thought 0 chemistry, and they were kind of cringy and unconvincing, and I think they were pretty miscast. Anyways, this is on Shudder right now. And next up, I watched 2 films I'm grouping together, Jean de Florette and Manon of the Spring, both from 1986. 5 stars for both of these. Now, recently I posted an episode about the film Chow Pantine by the same director who directed these 2 films, Claude Berry. And one of the viewers of this channel recommended these 2 films, and they're both just excellent. I grouped them together because they're really 2 parts. It's really a 2-part thing with the same main characters and the same setting. So be sure you watch those in order. So no spoilers here. I'm just going to say it's about a farming community and the challenges of that environment. But by the end of the film, I thought it really addressed some big ideas like human behavior and longing and regret and survival. Both of these are currently streaming on the Criterion channel. The next film we saw streaming is Hamnet from 2025. And yep, I'm only giving it 2 stars. I'm really glad many people were moved by this film. Didn't work for me. It's another film I thought that's just very slow and in which nothing much happens. In fact, Mrs. the Kazdoy Closet, she bailed after 90 minutes. I stayed for the whole 2 hours of it. And it's, in case you don't know, it's about parenthood and it's about loss. And we're both parents, so that wasn't the issue. Still didn't work for us though. I like the lead actress, Jessie Buckley. She won an Oscar for this film. I thought she was kind of a blank slate here, really. And I like the production design, and I like the whole theme of using pain to create art. But that's about it. We watched this on Peacock. And next up is actually a documentary. And I've been avoiding documentaries a lot lately because there's just so much disturbing things going on in real life in the world that I don't really want to watch documentaries that much. But I did hear this is Louis Theroux, Inside the Manosphere from 2026. I gave it 2.5 stars. That's a documentary that looks at 3 different manosphere influencers, and I'm not familiar with any of them. So I think part of my problem was I was expecting somebody more recognizable like Theo Vaughn or Joe Rogan, but these guys I didn't know. But these 3 guys presented here are extremely successful, apparently, and they are quite ambitious, quite cunning. I thought they were also kind of sad, but if they heard me say that, I'm sure they'd call me a wuss. But eventually, their content just kind of devolves into misogyny and violence and anti-Semitism. Watch this one on Netflix. Next up, I watched on streaming another horror film called Body Cam from 2025. 2.5 stars for that one. It's a found footage horror film that starts pretty promising, actually. It focuses on 2 cops who are answering a domestic violence call. So they're both wearing body cams, so that's how you see the footage. And things don't go well on this domestic violence call. But then it kind of gets repetitive, like a lot of these found footage films do, really. And by the end, it just gets kind of dumb and weird and not fully explained. This was watched on Shudder. And then the next thing we saw was Song Sung Blue from 2025. 3 stars for this. I would recommend this if you want something that's just kind of pleasant, a little bit mindless, not very challenging. Just you want to kind of relax and watch something, especially if you're a Neil Diamond fan, because it's a true story, supposedly about this Neil Diamond tribute act. So there's lots of his music in this film. It gets really melodramatic, especially at the end, unfortunately. Hugh Jackman stars in this. He's always good. Kate Hudson is his co-star. She was nominated. No, she won the Oscar for this, actually. Did she win? No, she was nominated for the Oscar for this. And she's fine, but it's okay. If you like Neil Diamond, watch it. I watched this on Peacock. And actually, I made it to the theater once in March of 2026. And that was to see Tommy from 1975, and we saw this in IMAX. I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I'm a huge fan of the original album Tommy by The Who, big Who fan. That album is probably my top 10, definitely my top 20 of all time. I still prefer that original album to the stage production. I've seen it on stage twice. I've heard live versions of it, and then this film, still prefer the original album. But it was fun to see this Ken Russell film after many years. I think I first saw it in 1975, actually. My first reactions walking out of the theater were, first of all, now I'm totally deaf because it was really loud. I don't see IMAX that often. It was very loud. And my second reaction is, whatever the opposite of subtle is, that describes this film. It's way over the top. It's a Ken Russell film. It's way over the top. Lots of mugging directly at the camera. It's nonstop music, nonstop movement. Some of it's a little bit dated, and some of it was a little bit, I think, unintentionally funny. But it's a fun film, especially if you're a fan of Tommy or if you're a fan of The Who. You definitely got to check that out if you haven't already. So feel free to leave a comment or suggestion down below. What's the best film you've seen in March of 2026? Share that with us. Leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down. Subscribe would be great. Share this with your friends and neighbors. Subscribing is free. Also free as we are on Letterboxd under the Kazdoy Closet. There's a link down below here that'll take you directly to it. You can see what else we're watching. And what's not free is my ebook is still available. It is True Tales from the Teacher Trenches. It's for your the ups and downs from 32 years of teaching. It's for your Kindle. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's part of your subscription at no cost. Otherwise, it's $1.99 at Amazon.com. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you like this one. See you next time.